So it comes back to like now thinking about curation and reflection. And I'm going to talk a little bit about like Screencastify and Adobe Spark, because I love those two together. I love using Screencastify to screencast. And so, you know, just taking quick screencasts of your, and it says Chrome extension and it's free. And so it lets you record your screen. And then I can pull those screen recordings into Spark Video, and I can have kids explaining their thinking and edit them together in Spark. And like that combination of being able to reflect and then add the you know, editing piece into Spark is really, really powerful. So
I have a quick question. Is I haven't used that. Is that like Jing, where it just does the screen? You can do video and screenshots.
Yeah. Are you guys a Microsoft district or a Google district?
Google.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it is like Jing, but it's a Chrome extension and it's free, and it will go automatically into Google Drive. So it's really powerful, because when students are done, if you're using a Chromebook, it automatically can save in their drive. And you can download it like on small parts and on a Chromebook as well. And that's why I like it, because then if you're using Spark, you can pull like the little clips and you can edit them together. And like if you're using a Chromebook, the reality is like, unless you're paying for something, you know, there's really not much to edit video. So like this gives you an opportunity to like, you can screen share, you can screencast with Screencastify, you can screencast or here, let me go back. You can screencast your screen, or you can choose to just show your face. So you can essentially have them like just talking to the screen if that's what you're using. And it's really powerful. And as a teacher, you can create really quick tutorial videos. Like if you're absent for tomorrow and you have to put together like your lesson plans, like I hated writing lesson plans. Like I would rather be sick at school than have to spend the time writing the lesson plans for my substitute teacher. And so like you're all laughing because you know it's true. Like if you're watching this, you know that there's no greater pain than being home and having to write lesson plans for the next day. It takes you more time. You might as well like just stay at school. So what I would do is, it's true, I would use Screencastify, I would record it for the students, and then I would put it in Google Classroom or Canvas. You guys use Canvas. So I would just put that screencast right into Canvas, and like that's my assignment for tomorrow, and like watch the video and follow along.
Fred says that's true. And I want to say that Laura says she uses it with Google Slides and the Wacom tablet for math.
That's awesome.
Jody says that all CCS teachers have access to the premium license through the end of this year.
Woo, that's awesome. I make GIFs. So if you see any GIFs in my presentations, I pay for like, it's like $24 a year. I do. Like I make all my GIFs there. It's fantastic. And I love it with Spark, because then I can make little tutorials and edit them really nicely together. So like getting kids to do that, like if you're getting kids to do that and then like edit their work together in Spark, it's so beautiful. And they can publish that in like a page and put together like the demonstrations as a portfolio. So like all these little things that I get them to do, and like when I'm teaching them the skills and the creation literacies, like all of that stuff starts to look really beautiful too, and they're really proud of their work. So that's some of the stuff that I have to do, and I get them to reflect. And so I will say this: like reflection is really painful. It's like it's kind of like you have to. It's like training up. It's gonna sound so bad. I'm not saying our children are puppies, but it's kind of like the idea of like training a puppy. Like when you're getting kids to reflect, you have to make it part of their learning. They need to like, you need to set aside 5 minutes every class. Like you need to say like, this is how we reflect. Here are the questions. You have to scaffold it. They're not going to do it intuitively because they've never been asked to do it. Like most teachers don't do a ton of reflection, and it's the kind of thing that like you need to put aside in your room and do it. And so like, I think it's really important that we are getting kids to reflect. And So like some of the things that I'd have them do is like keep a diary or a video journal, and like that could be done with Spark. You know, you can have them like add a little, you know, 15-second, like get them in the habit of like putting in the, like a little like overlay of something that they've worked on a creation. Maybe they put a screencast and they put it in, they edit it to get like, you know, you could have them, you know, maybe just write some things together in a Spark page, have them write a short letter, offer some advice. You know, having them offer advice to somebody else, what a great way to reflect, like posing it as that letter is really powerful. Creating video reflections and then adding them on a Spark, like just getting them in the habit of reflecting is so powerful. And so I think it's really important to think about like workflow as well. And I think like very often we have kids create, but we don't even know where to put anything and like how that structure works. So like, I don't know, some people might find this a little complicated, but this is kind of like how my brain thinks. Like I'll have kids create content, they'll create, then I get them to reflect. So like they can reflect using Spark, they can reflect using Screencastify, okay? And then they publish it and they incorporate feedback. So like, you know, if they're using Adobe Page to publish and they put their kind of like reflections there, then we can give them feedback. Or you can use Flipgrid. Maybe they're you know, they're posting it there. Maybe you're using Seesaw. Like there's all these different tools that you might approach, like how you sort of approach the digital workflow, but you want them to be able to create, reflect, publish, revise, and then publish again. And so the idea is that the learning is not this like thing that ends, but it's this cyclical process that's happening nonstop, and their work is just getting better and better. So so that's process portfolios. Like that's kind of like where we're showing like their growth over time. But then ultimately we want kids to be able to showcase their demonstrations and use that as assessment of learning, right? That summative piece to be able to kind of showcase their learning against their curriculum. And that is 100% where I would put Spark page in, because there, as you saw, like I showed you Logan's, you know, beautiful page, but that was just used as a digital story. But when you're able to kind of highlight pieces of work, taking screenshots, adding videos, putting it together with links, like it's so beautiful the way that it sort of unfolds. So if a student was able to do that at the end of the year and just pull out like their best pieces of work, or if it was like an English class and they took their essays and they created them into visual essays, or created anthologies, like I've seen students create like poetry anthologies, like so insane, like where they took their poetry and created visual stories with their poetry. So being able to showcase your work in a beautiful way is so incredibly rewarding for a student and so incredibly powerful for you as a teacher. So this is such a great way to do that. So, and look, there you go. These are my gifts that I use. These are the gifts that I use when I'm using Screencastify. But like, these are just some examples that you can go through. These are process portfolios. This is an example from I think I showed this already once, but from AP Computer Science class. And these were student examples of like showcase portfolios. And I've shown this for sure. And this was Savannah, not Savannah. This was, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? I'm having one of those mom moments. Oh yeah, Savannah's. And then this was just kind of like my workflow. And I think I've shown you this before, but like how I kind of have kids reflect together in a class. Then I have all of, I'll use Padlet, you can use Wakelet, but I have them turned everything in one place. And I love to use Padlet to do that, because then I can use a shelf and have all of my periods lined up. And I'll put this in Canvas, they'll turn it in, like, but I use this as the link, and they put all of their reflections and their work in one place. And I think I've mentioned this before, but it cuts down my grading. Well, because they self-grade also, but like just my ability to go through all their work, it's all in one place. But then the best part is by like second or third period, they're asking me to like take it down so that they can put their work in again, because they looking at each other's work and they're trying to outdo each other. So this is what that kind of workflow is really powerful. So I'm going to end here. I want you to know that you can feel free to reach out to me. I'm your friend now. We've gone through this whole, you know, course together. And here, let me escape. But I want you to know that you can connect with me. I have TanyaAvrith.com, my blog, the Google Infused Classroom. We have the Infused Classroom podcast, and we're going to be starting up in the new year with all new episodes. So if you just go on any place where you can find podcasts, you'll find the Infused Classroom podcast. You can reach out to me on social media. I'm at Tanya Avrith everywhere except for TikTok. My name was taken. So I'm at Tanya Avrith EDU. Not that I'm such an avid TikToker, but I'm trying to kind of figure out what the kids are all doing. You can check out the Google Infused Classroom. My co-author, I'm not part of this one, is coming out with the Chromebook Infused Classroom, and it's going to be amazing. And there's some courses that she's put together.